And we're at the Little Theater with Scott Feiner. Name of the new CD is called A View from Below. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
And we just love the sound of it, just in terms of it just really transports us to Brazil and the warm sands and the beaches and the water and the football going on right now. Yeah. But for you to create it, what was it like?
Well, it's kind of a blending of two worlds, because I'm originally from New York City. I was a jazz guitar player before, fell in love with the pandeiro and wound up staying in Rio for 13 years. So, yeah, got carried away. But it's really there's a lot of stuff on the CD that's not Brazilian, but because the pandeiro is my instrument and I play the percussion instrument, is so associated with Brazil. So even no matter what grooves you might play, it still conjures up these images like you had of Brazil.
Speaking with Scott Feiner here on Jazz 90.1. So that's it. How does that work when you make this happen live? There's one thing you do when you're in the studio, but to do it live and organically in front of an audience, what's that experience like?
Actually, the way we recorded it was pretty much live. I mean, it was in the studio, but we were playing the stuff live. There was no overdubbing and tracking. Yeah, so this is what was done on the record is exactly what we're going to do on stage. So
in 2014, you can still actually record a full album, no overdubs, no tricks, no tracks, and make it still sound great.
You can. It's possible if you try.
If you try. Speaking of Scott Feiner here on Jazz 90.1. So who's in the band with you tonight?
Tonight we have Mike Moreno, great guitarist who's been in New York for, he told me today, 16 years. He's originally from Houston, Texas. And he's played with tons of people from Joshua Redman to the list goes on and on. And Victor Gonçalves, who's a pianist from Rio, who I met there. We played together in Rio quite a bit. And he's been here for the last few years. And he's really kind of taken New York by storm. He's been playing with Nat Cohen, who's here at the festival, and a few other projects. But those are my partners in crime tonight.
We're speaking with Scott Feiner here on Jazz 90.1. Scott, for you, the sounds of Brazil, you lived there for 13 years, so you were there living it and entrenched in the culture. What's it like?
It's a place with a lot of strong contrasts. There's a lot of incredible beauty and a lot of things that are not so beautiful. But rhythmically, it's so rich. It's musically, it's a very rich place. So it was a special time being there.
It's funny just from the things we see, because we're pretty much isolated in America in terms of knowing what's happening day to day in Brazil. Like you say, you see the good, and also you see some of the challenges that we don't see here in America. But talk about how the music helps them to overcome so much. Because it seems like the one thing that bridges people together in a country like Brazil is the music. But that's just my take. But what do you think? You lived it.
It's absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That it's one thing that you'll see what they call a roda, which means. Literally, it means a circle, but people frequently play music around a table, whether it's samba or the style of instrumental music called chorinho, but where guys will sit around. There might be some beers and stuff on the table and some food, little munchies and stuff, and sitting around playing, looking at each other, facing each other. And this kind of situation can be even, very informal, like with non-professionals, just people having fun and playing music. So, you don't need to have lots of money or a fancy house to do that. So you'll see that kind of thing at like corner bars, a lot. Yeah.
That's so amazing. Speaking with Scott Feiner here on Jazz 90.1, playing 2 shows tonight at the Little Theater. Scott, again, the name of the CD is called A View from Below. And if we want to follow you and stalk you and and buy the CD, where can we go?
Yeah, well, you can find my site, which is scottfeiner.com. It's a little hard for some people to spell. Scott with 2 T's, FEINER.com. And I'm on Twitter and I'm on Facebook. And it's twitter.com/ScottFeiner. The Facebook is /Pandeiro Jazz, which Pandeiro is PANDEIRO. Jazz, obviously, .com. So it's easy to find me. If you just put Scott and Pandeiro, probably I'm gonna come up. Yeah. There aren't too many of us.
Scott, we can't wait to hear your show tonight. Thanks so much again for coming to Rochester and taking jazz further.
Thank you. It's great to be here.